The Boston Celtics trade rumors are escalating, as this is exactly what they needed, as their trade plans are becoming very, very clear, as Anfernee Simons has been a name in talks for a couple of weeks now, as things are starting to ramp up, as there are many teams that are very interested in this talented young guard. And what can some of these trades look like, and what teams are looking out for a guy like Anfernee Simons? Hello everybody, and welcome back to another video here on Celtics Digest. I'm your host, Patrick Billings, and before we get into anything, guys, if you guys are liking the content here over on Celtics Digest, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button. A lot of us here on Celtics Digest are putting out a lot of content, as things are a little bit slow, but they're starting to pick up a little bit. We're getting closer and closer to training camp, so if you guys want to stay up to date with any Boston Celtics news, this is the place for you guys to be. And without further ado, let's just get right into the video, as of course we're talking Anfernee Simons, the name that has been talked about many times throughout the weeks. And this is somebody that the Celtics could possibly be trading away, and they could possibly be keeping him. And maybe there's something down the line to where the Celtics keep him and get his value up during the season and then trade him for other pieces, maybe to a contender. But as it seems right now, the Celtics are still over the luxury tax and in that first apron. And Brad's main idea is to get below both of those. And the easiest way to get out of that is to trade Anfernee Simons. And if we look at an article here, the 3 goals exist for the Boston Celtics right now, as Siegel wrote. Aside from remaining competitive and finding ways to further cut their overall tax bill, Boston wants to maintain financial flexibility. Simons is in the final year of his contract and making $27.6 million, giving the Celtics a large buffer to work with and potentially add depth to their roster during this upcoming season. So with that being said, of course, the Boston Celtics are definitely in a position to where he is the only optional player to go out and trade, as he is worth a lot of money. And if the Celtics are in this type of year that they are trying to get under the luxury tax to kind of set themselves up for the next offseason, but still trying to be competitive, Anfernee Simons is that type of guy to bring you something back that can get some players that can hold their own and really fit into this roster. So if there is a couple of trades, we looked at this article here, they gave us a couple. There was a few teams, some really aren't contenders, but I like some of these packages that the Boston Celtics are getting in return. The money works, they're all successful. So let's take a look at this first one here, as it is with the Chicago Bulls. So the Chicago Bulls definitely have a decent amount of guards on their roster, but I think bringing in a guy like Anfernee Simons, who is definitely really talented and can play play with a lot more talented guards, as we see them play with Dame and some other young guards as well. But if we look at what the Celtics would be acquiring, it would be Kevin Huerter and Jalen Smith, and the Celtics would be trading Anfernee Simons. But in this trade, the Celtics would still be in that first apron, but they have a little bit more flexibility, as they can't aggregate Anfernee Simons' contract. So what that means is that the Celtics cannot add another player while trading Anfernee Simons. So that's what makes it so difficult, because it's easier to package up a couple of guys, and that Celtics would have to end up waiving somebody, maybe an Xavier Tillman, who really hasn't made his mark on the roster yet. But to make this trade happen, the Celtics would have to waive somebody, again, because of that aggregate. And I think this trade brings in a nice shooter in Kevin Huerter. He's definitely capable of getting hot, and I think that he fits right with that Boston Celtics offense with shooting all those threes, and he would fit right in perfectly. So I think that's a great move for them. And a guy in Jalen Smith, who's really been growing at a little bit of a slow pace, former 10th pick in the NBA draft, has a little bit of range as well, but I think he's a raw talent. But to add on to the Celtics center depth, I think that this is a great move, just to have another option at center. He's lengthy, play next to Neemias Queta and all these other guys like Luka Garza. They have more options now at the center if they end up making this trade with the Chicago Bulls, who still don't know what they're going to do at the guard position with Josh Giddey, who hasn't been signed back yet. And maybe this helps them move off of a couple other guards and extend Anfernee Simons, because they have Kobe White and Ayo Dosunmu. But there's a lot of decisions for the Bulls to make down the line that this is the least of their worries. And I think bringing in a guy like Anfernee Simons just gives them a different look to see if some of the pieces that they have work with them. and what they have looking forward. But I do like this trade for the Boston Celtics because it gives them a little bit more flexibility, and maybe they can move off some of these guys as well. And if we look at the second trade here, this one is with the Phoenix Suns. This one's a little bit more interesting. So this one's a little bit more of a long haul kind of situation for the Boston Celtics. As we do know, the Celtics are looking ahead. If Jayson Tatum is not going to play this whole season, I think these two guys could bring something to the team that makes them a lot more competitive down the line, and maybe they don't have to go too crazy in free agency because Grayson Allen and Royce O'Neal are definitely great role players. Grayson Allen was one of the best three-point shooters percentage-wise. Royce O'Neal as well, a great player, another good bench guy, but the same type of cap situation as the last trade, the same amount of money. It does work, and I think the Suns are in a very interesting spot where they're looking for another lead guard, and they could use a guy like Anfernee Simons to play next to Devin Booker, and they could kind of play that combo guard where one guy can play point guard, one can play shooting guard. They could flip-flop, they could play next to each other, and they could run the point guard when the other's on the bench. So I think that it gives them a lot of versatility on that Suns team. I'm curious to what Bruce would think about this trade. Bruce covering the Suns. Maybe he would like Anfernee Simons for the Suns and see if that he would work well for them. But I do think that this is another interesting trade, as it is a successful trade. So that's all we're looking for here. We're looking for some successful trades and something that can help out both teams. And I do think that this is something that can help the Celtics down the line. And one last trade we got here. This was with an interesting team as well, as it's with the Brooklyn Nets. So in the article, they did talk about trading Terrence Mann and Haywood Highsmith, but the Nets cannot aggregate Haywood Highsmith's rights. So I threw in Jalen Wilson in there instead, and it still works. So we would have Terrence Mann and Jalen Wilson coming over to the Celtics. Terrence Mann, a veteran guard at this point, definitely played solid with the Clippers. He's bounced around a little bit more. Jalen Wilson still proving himself more and more each year. He's been playing well with the Brooklyn Nets. He's on an expiring contract as well, so they really don't have to keep him around for a while. And once his contract's over, that's more salary off the books. So I definitely like that for the Boston Celtics aspect. But the Nets have a lot of questions going on with Cam Thomas. They have yet to extend him. His contract is up in the air, and I'm curious to see if they think that Anfernee Simons would be a better long-term guard, because there's a lot of GMs saying that Cam Thomas is this bench point guard type of player looking for NBA starter money. But I think we all know the talent that he has, and Anfernee Simons has definitely proved a little bit more in his career than Cam Thomas, and maybe this is something that the Nets would look at to feel more comfortable and bring him in long-term, even though his contract is expiring. It might be worth them paying all of that money for him. And I did throw in a 2031 second-round pick because the Celtics are shedding off $10 million on their salary, which puts them under the first apron. So they are free of cap space, and that's why this trade is so good, because you bring in a couple of pieces that are definitely able to hold their own for the Boston Celtics next year, getting off all that salary with the expiring contract of Anfernee Simons, and you give them that second-round pick. Maybe you throw in another one because the salary is so high. The Celtics do have a couple more second-round picks. Maybe they throw in their one from next year, and I believe they owe one from Houston as well down the line. But I think that this trade also works well if the Nets are very interested in looking for their next league guard of the future. I think this could work out well for the Celtics, and it opens them up heavily for the offseason in 2026. But guys, thank you for watching the video. Let me know what you guys think about these trades down in the comments below. Is there one of them that stands out more for you, and which one you like the best? And if there's any other trades that you would like to see with Anfernee Simons, let me know down in the comments below. And please leave a like on the video as well. And with that being said, thank you guys for watching the video, and go Boston Celtics. I'll see you guys in the next one.